So Darren, I know you spend a lot of time every day thinking about how our clients are going to do more with their best clients. So tell us about, from a firm perspective, where do you think the opportunity exists in 2025 to expand client services? What are the most in-demand client services you're seeing?
Well, I mean, the way I think about this, Molly, and there's been a lot written and said about business, client advisory services. So most firms don't really understand what client advisory services mean. But the way I think about that, and so I think it's the most needed service, is what does it mean to holistically serve a client? So you have different client categories. So you may have an optometry practice as a business client. So the question is, what does it mean to holistically serve them? Because ultimately, that's what the client wants. So as we look into 2025, that optometry practice just wants to know that they've been completely taken care of. Now, some of that may be compliance services that firms have been doing forever, right? But other things are, it's around tax planning, it's around business planning, it's around forecasting, it's around budgeting, it's around all these things. So I think for 2025, what firms need to do is look at what their ideal client profiles are. Let's just say that one of them is an optometry practice, or maybe it's just a service-based business. What does it mean to holistically serve that customer? Which means, what does it mean to do everything for them that allows them to be their best, right? And then
Darren, I have a quick question on that. So is it fair for us to say that you're seeing the rise of more customized services based on the type of business that the firm is working with?
I think based on the category that they're in. So, most optometry practices, have somewhat similar needs. Dental practices is not holistically serving an optometrist, and holistically serving a dentist is not that different. There may be some differences. And so I think the real rise here, Molly, that's making this a game changer is AI. So at this point, most accounting firm team members start, when they take on a new customer, they start with a blank sheet of paper. There's nothing on there. It's like, oh, we have a new optometry practice. They think about compliance services, but they don't think about what it means to holistically serve that customer, which is why that customer came to you, which is what they want from you. But if you think about a tool like Spark, and the ability to go in there and ask it, what are the top 25 best things that we should be doing for an optometry practice to save them tax dollars? It's going to spit out a list of things, right? You may agree with most of them, you may disagree with some of them, but at least you're not starting with a clean sheet of paper. You have ideas on what it means to holistically serve that customer. And then advisory services is looking at where that client is today and where they should be when they're holistically served, and filling those gaps. I think that's the future for accounting firms.
It's a great answer, because it's actually driving personalization while making it more scalable and repeatable. But that requires our firms to really use AI effectively in these use cases. So Darren, I love how you frame this.
Well, we're so used to starting with just blank sheets, and a blank sheet leads to just sort of stagnation, and where you do the things that you've always done, and you really aren't moving the ball forward with clients.
Yeah, and it occurs to me, working on a product team, when I learn something about a firm, I try to put that into my knowledge base and start applying it across the other firms that I'm working with. And I think we're asking firms to do the same thing with their clients. When you learn something that works, continue to deliver that, maybe package differently, but deliver it to clients that are like that client type.
And you're spot on, Molly.
Darren, great discussion. Thank you for all these things to think about as we enter 2025.